sumo wrestlers are just about stretched up. They'll be coming out in just a moment. You guys, again, are really lucky to come out for the first show to get first and second row seats here. It's going to be packed a little later. First of all, my name's Andrew. I'm director of USA Sumo. The guys you're about to meet are a couple of the best sumo wrestlers you'll find anywhere in the world. I've actually brought them all over the planet. They are kind of our two go-to guys. Unless you actually watch Sumo or professional sumo in Japan, you're probably not going to see this caliber of sumo that you're going to see here today. Are you guys ready? Yeah! Let's get everybody from out in the hall to hear you. Let's bring them in. You guys ready for some sumo? Yeah! All right, that's good. All right, so once again, we're going to do a demo for you here. We're going to show you some of the rules, do some matches, and we have a surprise for you at the very end. And if you came a little bit late here, once we're done with everything, all of you will get a chance to get some photos and autographs with the sumo wrestlers in room Sunset 4. I was testing them if they remember. All right. So, let me show you one more quick clip. You saw this in the montage. This is going to be just a 30-second clip. Now, let me preface this by saying that the two guys in this match on the screen are going to be the two you're about to meet in person. And this clip was from, actually it's 4 months ago at the US Sumo Open. So I've produced the US Sumo Open for 13 years now. Biggest annual sumo competition in the world outside of Japan. And 4 months ago at the US Sumo Open, there were 104 matches, I believe. Out of those 104 matches, there was one match in particular that went viral. There were over 1 million hits within like a day or two on YouTube. This was all over the world, actually, this one match, on media in about 30 different countries, and I think on every ESPN and Fox Sports show. So this just happened 4 months ago. These are the two guys you're about to meet. Let's check it out on the big screen. In front of you here at Otakon. Let's give a big hand again for Otakon Vegas. And I want to give one special shout out to the guy who invited us and brought us here. Let's hear it for Andy Earnhardt right here. Stand up, Andy. He's the man to thank. Go thank him for bringing sumo here to Otakon Vegas. Thanks, Andy. All right, folks. So the first gentleman we're going to bring out is the one you just saw in the video who was doing the falling. All right? Now, this man that was doing the falling, let's actually take a quick look at his match, a match that he won. Check it out here. This is Kelly. This is from a couple of years ago at the US Sumo Open. Quite a monster here at Otakon Vegas. He's originally from Idaho. Once again, at 430 pounds, Kelly Knighting. Once again, guys, Kelly, let's hear it. All right, and now Kelly's opponent today, the one who you saw in the video doing the throwing, is a man who has competed in professional sumo in Japan. Let's take a clip, let's show a clip of his video up here. This is some of his matches. This is Byamba. He's World Sumo Champion, Byamba Javelin. All right, folks. Once again, Byamba. So ladies and gentlemen, we have Kelly at 430 pounds, Byamba at 370. That's 800 pounds here in the ring, or 900 if you count me. Thank you very much. I know it's early in the morning to be making wisecracks here. Folks, again, it is early. You got to get these guys pumped up. Right now, you're going to have to make a lot of noise if, this big moment, if you want to see them take it off. Let's hear it. my job here is done. Have a good afternoon. Oh. All right, we're going to start out, folks, with the basic sumo exercise of shiko. Hajime. Shiko is the basic leg lift in sumo. Now, normally in Japanese pro sumo, they'll do the shiko hundreds of times in a row every morning. Look at the leg elevation here. You want to do shiko to build up strength, flexibility, and balance, especially in your lower body. Also want to keep limber to avoid injuries. Now, when the foot goes down, the next time I want everyone to say yoisho. You ready? When the foot goes down, and yoisho. Let's try to get really loud. You're going to say yoisho. 3, 2, 1. Yoisho! One last time, guys. Here it is. And yoisho! Let's give a big hand for the guys. Now, Kelly and Bianca are cumulatively 800 pounds, but they're very flexible. How many of you can do this? Anybody? How about this? They're not even getting started. Come on, let's hear it. Anybody? All right. That's matawari, or the full split you do in sumo to keep limber. Again, seriously, flexibility is extremely important in sumo because you want to avoid injuries. You might be falling a lot. You want to be able to move and sidestep your opponent. Let's go ahead and show you the basic movement in sumo. We're going to show you the basic movement in sumo, suriashi, when you keep the legs bent. Go ahead, Kelly. You want to stay low and get under your opponent. You see, you want to have the knees bent, the feet never leave the floor. And you get underneath your opponent. Let's speed it up a little. Watch out, folks, in the front row. He's coming for you. How'd you like to see this coming at you in a dark alley? Get ready. This guy has a big axe. Oh, okay. There we go, guys. Suriashi. Let's hear it for Bianca and Kelly. How about if we go over the basic rules of sumo?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. I'm glad that some of you want to see that because that's what we're about to do. Perfect timing here. All right. How many people were up until 3 a.m. last night? Wow, that's amazing. Thanks for coming out. Let's go through the basic rules of sumo, folks. So first of all, we're going to show you the kinjite, or the forbidden techniques. These are the illegal moves. First of all, before every match, you're going to bow. You always want to bow before and after every match to show respect for your opponent and the sport. In sumo, we're going to show you here again the kinjite, the illegal moves. It is okay in sumo to take an open palm and slap your opponent. Slapping is fine. You can slap him upside the head, but no punching. Punching is illegal. No boxing. This is not boxing. Once again, though, slapping is fine. However, you cannot poke the eyes. All right? Now, it's also okay in sumo to sweep the leg. Like a judo leg sweep, you can trip your opponent, but no kicking. Kicking is illegal and not recommended. Now, it's very important in sumo to grab your opponent's mawashi or belt. You can grab the belt, the mawashi, anywhere around the waist, just like on a regular belt. However, you cannot grab the groin area. It's also forbidden to grab the rear. Although you seem to enjoy that immensely. Honestly, though, you really, really want to grab the mawashi because you can get leverage on your opponent. You want to pull and push your opponent, so you can pull that belt. However, you cannot pull the hair. All right, thank you, Kelly and Biamba. Now, we're also going to show you guys a few of the kimarite. The kimarite are the winning techniques. There are 82 different kimarite. We'll show you just a few of the most common. So first of all, we're going to do a brief opening ritual. Before every match, you want to bow and do chiri chozu. They're going to squat down, put the hands together, do a big clap, and show they have no weapons. So I want you guys to help us out. We're going to do an 8 count slowly in Japanese here. Everyone, you ready? Ich, ni, san, shi, go, rok, shich, hach. You guys got it? We're going to have a test on all the moves later. All right. So that's the basic opening ritual with chiri chozu. Now let's show you some of the common winning techniques. First of all, we're going to do a frontal push-out technique. This is a straight push-out. It's like in football. Everyone say it. Oshidashi. 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 Frontal push-out. All right. Thank you. Frontal push-out. Oshidashi. By the way, folks, people in the front row, you're getting the good seats here. Just in case a 400-pound guy comes colliding or toppling towards you, help us out to avoid injury and just catch him for us if you would. All right? Can I count on you guys?
Yes, sir.
What's on your finger there? Okay, don't injure it anymore. Also, the people in the first 2 or 3 rows, just like in SeaWorld, you may get wet with sweat. So watch out. All right, so you just saw Oshidashi. Let's show you a similar frontal attack. This is going to be a force-out technique where they lock up on the belt and force the opponent out. Everyone say it, yori kiri. No. Not harakiri. Thank you. Excuse me. Yori kiri, frontal force-out. Here we go. All right, lock up on the belt and force him out. Little belly pump action there. Anybody want to see a 1-second match? Yes. How fortuitous, we're about to show one. This is going to be a slap down technique, hatakikomi. Hatakikomi, it's like a bullfighter dodging a bull. Don't blink. 1-second match, hatakikomi, slap down. Oh, they have to start simultaneously here with all 4 fists down. Here we go. Anybody want to see some throwdowns?
Yes, I do.
All right, well, you're in luck. So, first of all, we're going to show you a throw using the belt, an outside belt throw, uwate nage. Uwate nage. Uwate nage. He's going to grab the belt from the outside and flip the opponent. Get ready, folks. Guys, thank you for your concern, but luckily we have mats under here. Thank you. We'll show you one more throw. This is going to be a throw without grabbing the belt, underarm throw or suinage. This is going to be getting your arm inside your opponent and flipping him. Suinage. Let's hear it again for Gumbo and Kelly.
Yeah, I know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give them a 1-minute breather to get psyched up. We're about to do, in just 1 minute, 5 matches. These are going to be real matches. Every show is different. We actually did, in the less than 1 year, we did 93 live events. Well, we did actually much more than 100, but just with Living Social, Sumo, and Sushi shows, we did almost 100 of these all over the country, and you guys are in for a real treat here. This is very similar. Everyone is different though, so you never know. One guy might go 5-0, 4-1, 3-2. You might see someone flying out in this direction, or maybe someone flying out over there. So get ready for anything. You guys should also cheer on your favorite. Over here we have Byamba. Anybody like Byamba? And Kelly. Of course, you can also cheer out, USA or Mongolia. Once again, for the people who came late, Byamba actually was born in Mongolia, but he spent 5 years in Sumo, or professional sumo, under the shikono, or fighting name of Dai Shochi in Shibata Yamabeya. So he spent years in Japan. Kelly, even though he started sumo in his late 20s, he couldn't join professional sumo at that time, but he actually went to Japan and trained there as well. So both of these guys have extensive experience in sumo and in the culture. You guys ready for the 5 matches? And between each match, we're going to give them a quick breather to get ready for the next match, which is a great chance for folks to ask questions as well between the matches. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. First match, Byamba and Kelly. What do you like? I like them both. But... Byamba at 370 pounds, Kelly at 430 pounds. Get ready for an 800-pound collision. Feel free to make some noise, guys. Byamba or Kelly? So they're going to go down one time for a practice touch before the match begins. They're going to touch the ground. This is not the start yet. Next time they go down, the match will begin. Mighty Madrush. Let's hear it, folks. Breather here. Again, guys, that's only the first match of 5. Any quick questions about sumo or for the wrestlers here? Anybody? This is your chance. Yes?
Yeah, thanks. Quick question. So, while legal, are there moves that are considered dishonorable?
That's a great question. So he said, even though a move might be legal, is it considered dishonorable? Yeah, in fact, we showed one earlier. So you saw the slapdown, the hatakikomi. If you're like this, normally, especially if you're a very high rank in professional sumo, it's the right thing to do is to hit your opponent squarely without avoiding or dodging. At least at the start you want to hit him head on, with your shoulder, chest, or head. But if you do a hatakikomi like that, like a slap down, that would be considered slightly dishonorable. There's really a lot of pressure in Japanese professional sumo at the top guys, like a ozeki or yokozuna level, to do a quote-unquote proper tachiai, proper hit. They're not going to suffer a penalty for doing that, but they'll be, looked down upon by using a less than honorable technique. Great question. Anybody else with questions before match number 2?
Are there separate weight classes for sumo, or is it more just a catch-all?
Great question about weight classes. So, in Japanese professional sumo, there are no weight classes. Everyone competes together. Now, to join Japanese pro sumo, the minimal weight is 75 kilos right now, which is about 165 pounds. So I would not qualify, unfortunately. But, weight is really not everything because, for example, a couple guys that I know very well that I've worked with over the years are one of the biggest and smallest of the most famous Japanese pro sumo wrestlers in history. One is Konishiki, who's Hawaiian-born, who was at his prime about 630 pounds. And another one is Mainomi, who is a tiny guy, barely over 200 pounds at his prime. And these two guys actually, in their career records, fought each other 10 times, and the little guy, the 200-pounder, won 6 out of 10. So it's not just weight, it's a lot of dexterity and technique. and speed. Now that's in Japanese pro sumo. In international amateur sumo, like the videos you saw earlier, those videos show clips from the US Sumo Open. So at this tournament, and tournaments all over the world, they have instituted weight classes. And the goal is to make sumo an Olympic sport. With that goal in mind, just like in boxing or in judo, you have to have weight classes and also gender classes. So in amateur competition around the world, there are lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight divisions. And actually, you know, I compete in the lightweight. Kelly and I are actually the two current US sumo champions, heavyweight and lightweight, right here. So, it's true, actually. So, you know, there is an opportunity for everyone to try it. Maybe not today. These are educated folks. I want to answer their questions here. All right. One more question before match number 2. Yes?
Is there any significance to the outfits or the colors or the materials or anything like that? Or is it just by choice?
Is there any significance to the outfits, the color, the material, or is it just by choice? Okay, okay, let me see how I can answer that. So yeah, they choose to wear this. Well, first of all, it's called mawashi. So the mawashi is based on traditional Japanese fundoshi, which is like what you would see laborers wear in traditional Japan. It's basically a loincloth. And so it has a cultural significance. It has a symbolic significance. It also is something that basically reveals virtually everything, which is indicative that you do not carry weapons or arms, because it's important in sumo to show that it's you essentially naked against your opponent without any assistance from other people or weapons. There is a different side to the mawashi, which is the practical side, because just like in judo where you grab the gi, in sumo you want to grab the mawashi to move your opponent. So actually it's important how you grab it, where you grab it to get leverage. In terms of the style or color, well, in pro sumo, the 90% of the guys, the bottom 90%, as well as international competitors worldwide, basically wear a cotton mawashi like these. Normally it's either black or white, and it doesn't have, in this case, any particular significance. Kelly is a little bit unusual. He dyed his for fashion reasons. But no, essentially, normally it's a cotton mawashi. In the highest echelons of Japanese pro sumo, so the top 72 or so pro sumo wrestlers, or the top 72, actually don't just wear a simple cotton mawashi that's about $100 worth. They get the finest silk, custom-made mawashis that are maybe $10,000 or $20,000. It's the nicest silk, and it could be any color. It could be green or blue or yellow or red or whatever color you want, and it does not have any particular significance. It's a matter of personal preference. Okay, we'll take more questions after match number 2, folks. Here we go. Kelly versus Gavin. Again, you guys can cheer out Yamba or Kelly, or you can, you know, go USA. One goal to go.
USA! USA! USA!
I will mention that even though Kelly's the best guy in this country, 5-time US Sumo champion, he's going against the 4-time world champion. So if anybody can beat Yamba even 5% of the time, that's miraculous. Most people can never beat him. Some people 1%. If Kelly can even win 1 out of 5 matches, it would be pretty spectacular. So we never know what's going to happen here, guys. We'll see, Kelly. Rush! Let's do that. Matches so far. Bianca's 2-0. A few other questions. We have one over here. Yes.
I know it's probably sounds dumb, but what's the rate of injury of sumo wrestling compared to regular wrestling?
Okay, what's the rate of injury of sumo versus other wrestling? I don't know a particular ratio compared to other forms of wrestling, but of course there are injuries in sumo, but they're surprisingly few considering how rigorous it is. And the reason I would say is, number one, there's no punching and kicking. There's not a lot of bloodshed. Also, you saw that they do all those exercises for limbering up to keep very flexible. In fact, you know, when Bianco was in pro sumo, he would often train every morning like 5 hours. And the first hour would just be stretching, just to be very limber. The injuries that are common would be injuries with joints, usually your neck, knees, ankles, wrists, elbows, or you twist something or sprain something. You smash heads together, a lot of recoil and whiplash in the neck if you don't properly hit the person in the right way. I'll mention that when Bianco was in pro sumo, when he was training in Japan, in one practice he hurt one of his fingers. I won't show you which finger, but it was his right middle finger. And what happened is the finger got ripped over to the side of his hand. And he went over to his coach in agony, and his coach jerked it back into place, taped it up, and said, "Get back in the ring and keep fighting." I'm hoping that doesn't happen here today in Vegas. Any other question here? In the back there, yes.
Wow. I got a splinter. I broke my finger off.
Yeah, is there a specific diet? Yeah, it's peanut butter and jelly. No, I'm going to so currently these guys are in this country. You know, Bianco used to be in Japan for 5 years. So right now they can eat, you know, in international sumo, any kind of diet they want and any kind of regimen. They both eat fairly healthy. But when Bianco was in professional sumo, the daily training and diet is virtually identical every day for all the pro sumo wrestlers. His daily schedule normally in Japan would be, he would wake up at 5 a.m., he would train the entire morning on an empty stomach. So he'd like train for 5 hours straight, no food, lose about 10 or 15 pounds of sweat, have a huge meal for lunch, take a nap, train a little more, relax, have a big dinner, and then go to sleep. So it would consist normally of 2 big meals, and the normal food they would eat every single day in pro sumo is something called chankonabe. So chankonabe is like a sumo stew. It has a lot of fresh vegetables, meat, fish, and very, very healthy foods, but just huge quantities, and top it off with bowls of rice. So they eat just a lot of this to keep the weight on and recover from training. So the main sumo food, especially in Japan, is chankonabe. Okay, any other, okay, we'll go right here.
So you're doing 5 matches today. How many matches would they do in a tournament? How long is each match? How much are they working out in a day?
Okay, great question. So today we're actually doing 10 matches, 5 this show and 5 in the next show. The number of matches they would do, now normally in training every morning, they might do 20, 30, 40, 50 matches. It's incredibly grueling to the point of exhaustion. In a tournament, in professional sumo in Japan, it's very unusual to American sensibilities because the pro sumo tournament in Japan, it's a 15-day tournament. And they have 6 tournaments a year. So they have one in January, March, May, July, September, and November. On each of those 15 days, the sumo wrestler would only fight 1 match. So you could have 1 match, lose in 1 second, and then have 24 hours to kind of kick yourself to get ready for the next day. Now that's in Japanese pro sumo. It's only 1 match per day. If you're an audience member, you could see 100 matches because there's many guys competing. When we do an international tournament like the one you saw on the big screen, I normally do that tournament in just 1 day. And in that case, in international competition, someone like Bianco or Kelly might have 8 or 9 or 10 matches in a day if they keep winning and moving on to the next round. So it's a little different. In terms of the length of the match, what you just saw is what you get. It could be a 1-second match, 10 seconds, 20, 30. Rarely will you see a match over a minute. They're normally very short. One last question before match number 3 in the back. If you wanted to get into sumo, where would you start? Well, so first of all, if you wanted to get into Japanese pro sumo, that's virtually impossible because you probably would have to be a teenager and have, you know, they're not going to look at you if you're in your 20s. And there's really almost no way to get in right now because there's about 35 or 40 heya or pro sumo teams, and there's a maximum of only 1 non-Japanese, 1 foreigner per team, and all those slots are essentially taken right now. with maybe 2 or 3 exceptions. You'd have to be a real athletic phenom to even have a chance to go into pro sumo. In amateur sumo in this country, talk to us after the show, because there are groups here and there. I and Bianca are in Los Angeles. We're one of the main powerhouses of sumo in this country. Kelly is originally from Idaho, where he really started up a sumo boom there as well. Where are you located? Pennsylvania? Sorry to hear that.
Hey now!
No, well, talk to us afterwards. There might be a chance for you to start up a group out there. Which brings us, folks, to match number 3. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you saw the techniques earlier. They might need your help. I want you to feel free to cheer out your own amateur advice for the guys, like slap him, trip him, grab the belt. Let's hear some advice, folks. They might need your help. Sweep the leg, okay? They're going to go down for 1 practice touch. Anybody, what do you want to say here?
Fight him.
Rush! What do you want, guys?
All right.
False start here. In order for the match to begin, all 4 fists have to touch the ground. That means 2 fists each. All right, for the people that get that. So if someone starts before the other opponent's fists are down, normally in Japanese professional sumo, he would have had a penalty. He would have been fined about $1,000. But don't worry, for Otakon, we're going to fine him only $500. Here we go, guys. Shh. Let's hear some advice, folks. Folks, that is an incredible upset. When Bianca goes against opponents, normally he wins 100% of the time. He could do 10, 20, 30, 50 matches. He wins virtually every match. So huge upset there for Kelly. All right, any other questions before match number 4?
I go to Japan every once in a while, and I always wanted to go to a sumo tournament. How possible is it, or how hard is it to get tickets to a sumo tournament? I never really
How hard is it to get tickets to a sumo tournament? If you have the money, you can purchase tickets, just like for Otakon Vegas. So, you know, there are 6 tournaments a year. They're 15 days long each if you want to see a pro sumo tournament. So you have 90 days a year to see a tournament. Now, in January, May, and September, you can see the tournaments in Tokyo or in Yogo near Tokyo at the Kokugikan. In March, you could go to Osaka, in July, Nagoya, or in November, Fukuoka. And if you're there at the right time, you could go and buy a ticket. It is occasionally sold out, but generally you should become professionals when they're teenagers. A lot of them finish middle school and go straight into sumo, or finish high school and go straight into sumo. I think the requirement is 16. Judo's like Judo? Okay, so that you could be 15 years old and you could enter Japanese professional sumo. So you would probably qualify. Although, if you're over 20, they probably actually wouldn't look at you, and like me, you probably don't have enough weight to enter pro sumo. 140, okay. Yes, over here.
Being in Las Vegas, would you ever think to see sumo in the cage matches? Like MMA, or you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, so would you see sumo in Vegas? You know, we've actually done some sumo tournaments in Vegas here before. on a smaller scale, some amateur tournaments that were not that well publicized. There was a very, very rarely professional sumo, the Nihon Sumo Kyokai or professional sumo, does foreign exhibition tournaments, which is usually called like Jungyo. So when they came to Vegas October 7th, 8th, 9th of 2005, so 8 years and 3 months ago, we had a huge multi-million-dollar production at Mandalay Bay. I was the announcer and kind of interpreter there. But that's very, very rare. But hopefully you'll see in years to come, international competition, amateur guys, Americans, and former pros like Bianca will have more and more tournaments in different parts of these countries. So Vegas could be a good potential location. All right, one last question before match number 4. Yes, here we go. One of the Otakon staff is our friend Jeff, right?
What kind of material do you use to make like the actual mats, like if you can?
Okay, so the material. So in Japanese professional sumo, and really in almost all sumo, at all levels in Japan, the dohyo or the sumo ring is constructed out of hard-packed clay. So it's like dirt. It's packed, hard-packed clay. When it's, you know, tamped down, it's basically like concrete. It's very hard. And the tawara, or these pieces, are rice bales. It's a rice bale rolled up, filled with clay, and embedded about 70% into the earth. So this part that sticks up is only a portion of it. The rest of it is embedded securely into the earth to form the circle. Normally, obviously, for a tournament in Japan, it's elevated. So it's many tons of clay, about this high. And for the pro sumo tournaments, they have 40 guys, let's say, spend a week building that thing by hand, and then they break it down. So they do that all year long, build and break down the dohyo. Now, we didn't have 40 guys who had a free week here in Vegas to build it, so we brought this portable dohyo, which is an exact replica. This is from Japan. This is the exact dimensions of the real dohyo, which is 4.5 meters in diameter, which is about 15 feet across. These shikiri-sen or star lines are 28 inches apart, etc. So this is actually the exact dimensions of the real dohyo in Japan. Let's take more questions at the very end after match number 4. Here we go, folks. Here we go, folks. Biamba versus Kelly. So far, 2 wins for Biamba, 1 win for Kelly. First time ever at Otakon, Sumo. Yeah. Maite, Andras. You guys can feel free to cheer on your favorite here. Full star. He's up to $1 grand.
Make it back at the tables.
Make him buy us dinner.
Knosh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so far 3 wins for Biamba, 1 for Kelly. We have 1 more match to go. Let me mention again that after we're done with the matches, we have 1 more surprise for you. And after that, if you'd like, you have a chance to meet these guys and get photos with them in the other room. When you go get your photo, they'll also be happy to autograph a few little items for you. We have some of these available for sale. If you want to tell your friends that you can crush a sumo wrestler with your bare hands, you have these little squeezy sumo dolls. Oh, okay. And I'm sure the guys will sign them for you if you like. Not only that, but I just brought a few varieties of sumo t-shirts. There's a few other varieties, but for example, let's see, I think we have Kelly's size. Kelly, can you come out here and model this? We have like an ukiyo-e of a sumo wrestler there. Is that about right for you? Wait a second. Oh, no, hold on. I think I got it size. Hold on. This is your size. There we go. Try that one. Oh, wait. That's there's sweat on it. Now this one will be worth more. That's actually the, I think that's the kids. Oh, this is a kid's medium. That's why. Okay. That about covers one side of his chest there. Okay. So we have a bunch of these, and finally, we have just a limited number of the most prized possession you can get from a sumo wrestler in Japan. This is actually like the most important thing you can get in Japan from a sumo wrestler, is what's called a tegata. So the tegata is a handprint. Okay, and there's one by Biamba, one by Kelly, and these sumo wrestlers made each of these tegata individually by hand. I see my popularity rating has gone down significantly. But seriously, these are like snowflakes. They're each unique, so they make these one by one. They're not with a machine, so every single one of these is different from the others. These guys signed them, they autographed them, and if you get one of these, they'll also be happy to write a note to you or customize it with your name. So feel free to check these out. Even if you don't get any items, no problem. The guys will be happy to sign a sumo program for you and take photos with you for free. So feel free to come on over and meet us in Sunset 4 is the room right after we're done here. One more match to go. Any other last questions before there we go, in the back. Is there a big steroid problem in the sport? Well, not with these guys, but I'll tell you, these guys are all, first of all, I'll answer that, but let me say, these guys are all natural. Biamba, let's cheer for Biamba. Biamba, come over here. Now, folks, this guy, he's about 370 pounds now. When he was in pro sumo, he was only about 350, but they measured his body fat percentage when he was 350 at about 11%. He's worn out a little bit, but he's if you guys cheer, I bet you he'll do something if you watch his chest. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Thank you. Biamba told me that after he retires from sumo, he's going to go into bodybuilding. And Kelly's in pretty darn good shape because, like I said, in case you came late, he's run 3 marathons. He's in the Guinness World Record as the heaviest human being ever to run a marathon. Now, in terms of your question, every pro sport, there are allegations of all kinds of illegal activities, from doping to match fixing, and you'll find those allegations in pro sumo, just like in, let's say, pro baseball or Lance Armstrong. You have things in the NBA about referees fixing the point spread of games, things like that. So of course, just like any pro sport, there are allegations of all kinds of illegal activity, but I would say that by and large, most of the guys are legal and honorable, especially the guys you see here today. Thank you.
I was just wondering, you mentioned gender earlier. What percentage do you think of women participate in the sport? And who are the top women in the sport?
Okay, earlier I mentioned that in amateur sumo, some women compete as well. Your question was, what percentage of women compete in sumo? I think globally it's about 0.0000021%. Well, yeah, so first of all, in Japanese professional sumo, it's only men. In fact, in pro sumo, women aren't even allowed to touch the ring. That's just part of the culture. It's not, anything against women per se. But in international amateur competition, they, as I mentioned earlier, they want to make sumo an Olympic sport, and for that goal, they've created weight classes, lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, and for both men and women. Now, probably worldwide right now, there might be a few hundred women, maybe a couple thousand women, who occasionally compete in sumo as an amateur sport. So it's just developing. In this country, in 1 year, we might only have 8 or 10 women who actually enter a competition. So it's still relatively grassroots here, which means you have a great potential to take the gold medal at this year's national championships in the women's division, right? I'm sorry, I remember someone else had asked me earlier, I'll take your question in a second. Someone had asked me about, they were concerned about the, like your question actually, but they were concerned about the belt, the Mawashi, and wardrobe malfunctions. So I just want to put your mind at ease, or maybe disappoint some of you, and tell you that the Mawashi is very securely tied. In fact, Kelly, can you be our model? Come on over here. Let's hear it for our model, Kelly. Let's show these folks here, your better side. No, turn around. There we go. Okay, here we go. Thank you. So you can see the Mawashi here is tied in a double knot. It's pulled around twice here. It's fairly secure. Let's turn around for these folks here. Double knot here. This shouldn't come out. Let's give our model Kelly a big hand. And actually, the way that's tied, I've seen like tens of thousands of sumo matches live in tournaments, practices, on TV, videos. I've never seen the Mawashi come off during a match. Now, supposedly, historically, it may have happened a couple times, but it's unbelievably rare. However, the rule is, just in case, if it does happen, the rule is if your Mawashi comes undone, if you suffer a wardrobe malfunction during the match, you automatically lose the match. And you also might be very embarrassed or proud, as the case may be. Thank you. All right, any last questions before the 5th and final match? Yes, that's right, you had one.
You said that there's a women's division, like we have boobs. So what do you cover that with?
In case you didn't hear, she stated that we have a women's division, and she said we have boobs. An illuminating statement. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. So, I don't want to disappoint the guys, but yeah, for women's amateur sumo, women normally have a leotard, and the Mawashi, the belt, is worn over the leotard. So it covers the torso and the thighs and rear. Okay, thanks for asking. So feel free, without any embarrassment, to try sumo, young lady. All right. Anyone else? Last question before the 5th and final match here. Okay, right over here. Oh, one of you two.
I noticed that Biamba seems to start the matches each time, and Kelly puts his fist down first. Is there a reason for that, or is it just whoever's ready first?
There's no particular protocol. Her question is about who is initiating the start. There is no requirement for one guy or the other to, quote-unquote, start the match. The only requirement is that all 4 fists have to touch the ground. And so some people might want to strategically put down both fists first to be ready and looking when their opponent's 2 fists go down. Someone else might want to have the element of surprise, which is what Biamba seems to be doing for most matches, and waiting and then suddenly put his fist down. So it's really just strategic, and you might do a different start against a different opponent depending on who you're up against. You had a question too? Same question, by coincidence. You did too? All 3 of them had the same question. This section has been... All right, folks. Now again, we're going to do our 5th and final match here in this show. In case you came late, people in the back, we're going to have one more sumo show at 1 o'clock. So feel free to come back again and hear the same lame jokes from me. No, but seriously, every show is different. We have different questions, and we have different outcomes of the matches. So feel free to come back at 1, tell your friends, you don't want to miss it. When we're done with this last match, remember, stick around for one more surprise at the very end. And again, everyone can go to, at the end, Sunset 4, and meet these guys for photographs and autographs. Last question? There it is.
You said that you're also a sumo wrestler, or will we be seeing you do anything?
The question is, I said I'm also a sumo wrestler, will we be seeing me do anything? I'm doing lots of things here. doing most of the things here. Well, you know, for the sake of entertainment, normally the rather hefty folks make more of an impact, pardon the pun. So they're probably better, but you know, maybe I'll do something at the end with a surprise. Just hang on a few minutes. Like I mentioned, I actually have done sumo longer than these guys for almost 20 years now. So we'll see. It's true. Which brings us to match number 5, guys. Here it is, Biamba versus Kelly. So far, 3 wins for Biamba, 1 for Kelly. Will Kelly pull off another upset, or will Biamba be dominant with a 4-1 record? Let's hear it, guys. This is it. Like that, with those shh. Biamba with an overall record in this first show, 4 wins to 1. Biamba comes out victorious this morning. Let's hear it again for Biamba and Kelly. And again, if you came late, feel free to come at 1 o'clock. We'll have additional matches. One last surprise, guys. I'm going to give them a breather for 30 seconds to get ready. One last surprise at the very end here. Now, you just saw the champions going head-to-head with 5 matches. We have a chance to bring just a very few, we can't get a lot, but just a handful of people from the audience to come up here and try to beat a champ. And I can only, I was told by the, okay, there's one right there, you. Wait, his hand raising was, okay, that's one. I need some ladies too, in the back there with the hat. Yep. I need any ladies here, over there. Yep. Right here, I need one more lady here. Okay, right there. Okay, now, okay. I can't get any more for now. If I picked you, both of you, if I picked you, you have to take your shoes off. And also, I'm told by Otakon staff, we have to bring this gentleman over here. So folks, if I picked you, take off your shoes. Please give me a copy of your life insurance. Take off your shoes. Kelly illicitly chose one more. If I picked you guys, come on over and line up over here. Line up over here. Oh, Kelly picked her because she asked the question about quote-unquote boobs. Okay. All right. Who else did I pick? I got the guy with the hat in the back. Come on over. Line up here. Make sure you take off your shoes. I recommend you remove any glasses and valuable jewelry. Just pass it to me, please. You can put that wherever you like. All right, let's line up here. Who else? Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Is that it? I think we have our 7 volunteers. 7 volunteers. All right. Already putting pressure on them by saying, don't embarrass us, Lou. I think embarrassment is a given here. All right. So guys, first of all, let's hear it. Let's hear it for our brave volunteers here. Now, I don't want you guys to get hurt, so go back and sit. No, just kidding. I don't want you to get hurt, so I want to give you just a couple tips so you don't get hurt. A couple things to do, what to do in the match and what not to do. You know what? Since you asked, I wasn't really in condition here, but I'll just demonstrate because of your question. Okay, so I'm going to actually show you. Biamba can help us here. I'm going to show you guys what to do and what not to do. So, room, you gotta get immediate standing ovations when I take off my jacket. What's wrong with you guys? All right. Okay, so first of all, this is what you don't want to do. I'm going to show you the wrong thing to do. You don't just stand there. Don't stand up and be motionless. You have to go forward and keep moving. So you're going to get hurt if you do what I'm about to do. Don't try this. So again, don't just stand there. Go forward, okay, guys? You got it? They seem to be speechless. All right. Now, again, like it's early in the morning. I haven't warmed up, but we put the pressure on. I don't know if I can do this. I haven't worked out for months, but let's see if I'm 150. He's 370 pounds. What do you think? Who wants to see me get him airborne? USA. Thank you. Thank you. Perhaps by my accent, he somehow recognized my nationality. Right. USA, there we go.
That's fine.
Do the same thing, Bianca.
He made me work for it. Oh, no, okay, that's all you do, guys. You just grab him, lift him up, and just put him out, okay? No, he went a little easy on me. I don't think that's going to be the real outcome. Whew. Take a 5-minute break here. All right, no, seriously. Actually, don't try to lift him. That's really hard. What you guys should do is just push forward, okay? Push. Good. Do that again here. Watch this. There we go. All right. Who's first? Who's our first match here?
Lee!
Now, you guys said Lee, right? Yeah. I sense a great power here because you must be related to Bruce Lee, right?
Chong Lee.
Lee, what's your sports and martial arts background?
Harlem.
So, like, eating contests?
Hitting white guys with mics when they're not looking.
I was saying eating contest because that's a competitive sport. All right. So, Lee, who do you want to face today? Kelly or Bianca? Well, you got to choose one or they're never going to let you get out of here.
Don't I know it.
Bianca! All right. Bow. Do what he does, Lee. You're going to follow the same ritual. Folks, we have Bianca, the 4-time world sumo champion, versus Lee, who enjoys consuming foodstuffs. What do you like here?
Lee!
It's here for Lee! Push Lee! so close. It's foul. Biamba wins. That's a great effort there by Lee. You tried to defend the honor of Otakon?
Yeah. Rematch!
But not quite. All right. Who's going to be next? I think you should do one by one. They want to do it together? That's not fair.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, what do you mean, together with each other or against them? All right, come on, let's introduce you guys first. All right, here we go. So, what's your name?
My name is Shannon. Shannon.
Shannon, okay, and?
I'm Nicole.
Nicole.
Okay.
Now, Shannon, what's your sports experience?
Panel 1?
I actually